self-made has to be somebody that was growing up broke.
I disagree with that. You can mow lawns for a few months and make like a few $1,000s.
You know how many lawns I'm gonna have to mow?
It's a lot of lawns.
Why the fuck is the day trader talking about you can make a few $1,000s mowing lawns? Like, okay, dude.
Time millionaire. Please welcome Tim Sykes.
The key to my success is just working hard, like 18 to 20-hour days every day of my life, and having no life, but having a lot of money.
I think it's consistency, waking up every day, doing things that I need to do, not just because I want to do them, but because I have to do them.
3 years ago, I was serving Captain and Coke as a server. I feel like a lot of people think that this happens overnight when it's really been a lot of work.
I started a fat freezing business. It just grew from doing it for friends and family, and it grew into like a crazy thing.
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. I think it's so important that you...
Dude, seeing like YouTube millionaires and like social media millionaires is so frustrating. Like, how are these guys somehow worse? Like, the self-help gurus are somehow fucking worse than like a Face Clan millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm more familiar with like Twitch streamers who are millionaires, most of them and shit. But like, these guys somehow are like more annoying because like Twitch chatters are just like, Twitch streamers, or, you know, like most of the YouTubers I know, they're just like, yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know how I did this. I mean, I work really hard, but it's kind of crazy. It's super luck. Like, whereas these guys are like, oh, I did it, so you can too. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. What do you mean?
Live below your means and live frugally and really focus on what's most important to you.
I think millionaires get a bad rep. I try really hard to serve other people.
That guy looks like a scuffed Good Guy Fits, like short.
I am self-made. 3, 2, 1.
Self-made?
Bro.
I bet she said someone disagree because she's probably one of the few ones that's like, that worked, I guess, in like the service industry or some shit.
Growing up, I didn't have anyone in my family that was in real estate. I didn't have anyone in my family that, you know, had millions of dollars. And so for me, I do remember being like 15, 16 years old, having 20 bucks and working part-time after school and like saving away all that money. And then I used that money to get my real estate license. I barely graduated high school. I never went to college, 2 divorced parents, so I should not have become wealthy statistically. But I believe that I put in the work and I really wanted something and I was really determined and I really enjoyed what I do, and that, you know, accumulated to where I am today.
I literally started from the bottom. I'm not saying that I was ever homeless or anything, but I did grow up in a single family household. We ended up sharing like a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 people living on 1 bed. Living through those struggles really did put into perspective that I just wanted more out of life. So I went out there and I did whatever it took to build my wealth. And even though all odds were stacked against me, like I failed out of business administration, my counselor told me I would never make it in business, but I took that and it lit a fire under me to prove her wrong almost.
I feel like personally self-made has to be somebody that was growing up broke, in my opinion. Like, you got it from the bottom, and I didn't get it from the bottom.
I disagree with that. I don't think you need to come straight from the bottom. Like, I started with a few $1,000s. I know a lot of people who started their whole businesses with a few $1,000s.
A few thousand is more than what I had, so in my...
No one is self-made, dude. There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire, okay? You didn't make all that money on your own. You just didn't. I think it's virtually impossible to build that kind of wealth just on your own. Like, in any case, you're still relying on pre-existing infrastructure that we have collectively built through taxes and roads and infrastructure and ISPs. Like, there's just no... We always incorrectly assume that, like, there is no collective action going on. There is no collectivism in society. And that, like, it's capitalist individualism. It's like propaganda that makes people believe that. But you didn't build those roads. You didn't build that internet. I think she just means time spent. Yeah, I get it. I understand. I understand what people mean. I guess what I'm trying to say is we take things for granted. We take all of the collective action behind the scenes for granted because of our hyper individualistic, attitude.
It doesn't matter, like a few thousand isn't
better.
going to make or break your business, like your life. Like you can't.
$0?
Let's say you start with $1,000. I still believe you're self-made. Even 10,000, even 20,000, because you're not truly like even
So
six.
what's the point of self-made? I think it's capitalist propaganda to reinforce the false notion that there is a meritocratic process to all of this. Now, that doesn't mean that it's impossible that hard work does not pay off. Of course it does. Self-improvement is an important thing for me, and I preach it all the time. But that's the reason why I think like the self-made millionaire concept exists. Watch Obama say it. Oh yeah, this is famous. This is a famous line from Obama that everybody got mad at. I remember this. I love this. Thank you for sending this here. That's why I said you didn't make that. You didn't build that on your own.
Successful, somebody along the line gave you some help. There was a great teacher somewhere in your life. Somebody helped to create this unbelievable American system that we have that allowed you to thrive. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business.
This Bernie stuff is smoother to your brain big time. Well, it's cool that Barack Obama's saying the same exact thing then, I guess, right? Weasel Pop?
That you didn't build that. Somebody else. Somebody invested in roads and bridges. If you got a business, that you didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
Figures or seven figures.
I'm broke and I live at mom's house with $0. You're in a way better position than
You
me.
can mow lawns for a few months and make like a few $1,000s. Like there's ways.
You know how
to
many
make,
lawns I'm gonna have to mow?
It's a lot of lawns, but that is self-made.
Okay. Let's now focus on this dipshit penny stock trader's take here. Oh, you know, you can make a couple $1,000s by just mowing lawns, dude. I'm seeing that there's a lot of survivor's bias here. Okay, I'm assuming that as a group of individuals who have made it, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that a lot of these, most of these motherfuckers are like, I made it. Why can't you? Half of them probably literally make money by saying that over and over again.
I know what it feels like to be poor. 3, 2, 1, go.
There's a difference between being poor and being broke. I've been broke before, like me and my husband have been broke many times in like our relationship, but we've never been poor. And even like a long time ago when I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with my family, we were never poor. I mean, I was happy, like I had pudding. We went
Why did they high five each other for that? That's kind of weird. Okay.
to like parks and stuff. I never felt poor.
When I was 7 years old, I got kicked out and moved into my grandparents' garage. And so I was poor mentally and I was broke financially. And I had to take care of myself at a very young age. So for a decade, I was running a pool company in order to eventually gain the opportunities to ultimately move that ball down the court, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
but were you happy?
I mean, I wasn't,
garage?
not really, right? Because there was a lot of stuff going on, and like I'm living in a garage and I'm growing up, and I had to not only become rich financially, but also mentally.
I know what it's like to have everything and lose it all. So for me, my parents split when I was young. My family was broken. My mom had to then support 2 children. My dad had some nasty habits with gambling and lost everything. So he had a lot of debts that my mom ended up having to be chased for. And basically, I was 12 years old when I got my first job going door-to-door sales, selling newspaper subscriptions, and I had to bust my ass off to help my mom. So for me, I feel like we all start from somewhere and we go through certain motions because it builds character.
I like that. I'm jealous of you guys. I wish I had that mindset. Like I travel.
Okay, I really don't like this guy. I mean, he's just like, oh God. I just everything about this person is very frustrating to me. He will never be able to say anything correct. He's that guy. He is the guy in the group. I've identified him as the guy.
Travel to third world countries to kind of see what it's like, but I still can't put myself like totally in that spot.
I feel like, again, broke and poor are 2 different things. Like, I grew up in a 2-parent home. I, went to prom in a Bentley. Like, I grew up really, really great. But then I hit 20 and I moved out with some boy and the situation got very, very domestic violence-y. Now, I was living in a penthouse, and I'm sorry, I got too much pride. I wasn't gonna go back home. And you know, I'm like black and blue, like getting locked in like closets, like really, really toxic stuff. So that for me was very, very poor. Now, did it slingshot me to six-figure a month income? Yes. But in that state of mind and in that environment, I felt like I was really poor. Like I looked beat up, and my direct deposit was not gonna fix a black eye, you know, like.
I should pay more in taxes. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yo. Okay, and this is precisely why I hammered on the "you didn't build that on your own" narrative that Barack Obama was talking about in the beginning. This is bullshit. Okay? I personally, I should pay more in taxes as well as these motherfuckers. Let me tell you something. This is precisely why it's important to always remember that you didn't do it on your own. This is why you have to fucking remember that always, that you didn't do it on your fucking own, bitch. God, what a demonstration, what a perfect demonstration of class solidarity that you see from capital owners right the fuck here, dude. Not a single one of them waited. Except for this one, who's like a little indecisive. But every one of them, they rushed to the strongly disagree side. And that's because you would never see that from poor people. Is there a poor version of this? You would never see this kind of solidarity from poor people. Some of them would be like, yes. Some of them would be like, no.
I feel like, you know, you make more money, you obviously do have to pay somewhat more, but I don't feel like we deserve extra things to pay just because we have more money. Like, we shouldn't be looked to as like a fund, you know, from the government or someone else who just feels like, oh, you have more money, you should pay more in taxes.
I just feel like there should be a little bit more freedom with it, because it's really, really stressful. And I feel like a lot of businesses fail in the first 3 years because of taxes, not because they're bad at business, not because they're bad at managing money, but because they're not prepared to do everything by the book.
Wait, so it turns out there's no risk associated with starting a business at all. Ben Shapiro owned. Turns out it's just the taxation that is causing businesses to fail. Businesses would all succeed without taxation. Got it. Hold on a minute. If there's no risk associated with starting a business then, and it's just all the taxes, then doesn't that mean all of the capital owners should distribute profits evenly to all of their workers? Because without that, without that risk factor, doesn't that kind of blow apart the whole capitalist narrative? Isn't that how that works?
I mean, I just don't appreciate it when big companies who sell a lot of their services like in the US, and then they have some like Ireland tax status where they're getting out of it, like Apple and Amazon and these big companies that theoretically should pay billions in taxes while it's us average people who are really supporting the government. I think there should be a little less inequality there.
Amazon paid $0 in taxes.
Did you see Bezos is donating to Australia for the wildfires? He donated $690,000.
Yeah.
And he makes an average of $200 million per day.
Yeah.
He put out a whole press release, and I'm just like, come on, dude, like, give a little more.
To be fair, they have created a lot of jobs for people. I actually sell on Amazon, so through Amazon FBA, he's provided an opportunity for people like me to make a living for myself, to be able to start a business, you know, online, and to be able to make internet money. So like to have that freedom, and like whether we think that he needs to give more or not, I mean, that's really up to him what he does with his money.
I've spent an absurd amount of money on something because I can. 3, 2, 1, go.
My husband just got a Lamborghini and he had a Mercedes. It was like a 90 grand car and he added like a 200 grand car. And I'm like, why'd you do that? Like, you don't need to do that. He's like, well, I mean, I could, so why not? Like, I want to, it's fun. I'm like, you can't even drive it to the grocery store. Like, you can't use this car for anything.
I mean, I grew up wanting.
And
He got a gold-plated Lamborghini. You're asking to get keyed. That's why she says you can't drive it to the grocery store. Not because of the fucking potholes, but because you'd probably get fucking keyed. And honestly, if I saw someone keying a Lambo like that, I'd be like, good shit.
Like you don't need to do that. He's like, well, I mean, I could, so why not? Like I want to, it's fun. I'm like, you can't even drive it to the grocery store. Like you can't use this car for anything.
I mean, I grew up wanting cars. Like my whole bedroom was
queen.
like plastered with cars on the wall. And then when I
Yeah.
could actually buy it, it was like
It's so
fulfilling
fun, right?
Well, it was fulfilling a childhood dream. It wasn't even about the car, it was the challenge.
Yeah.
Then once I had all the cars, the thrill was gone, so I need it. So
Yeah.
I think that you should all have like dreams and chase those dreams, whatever they are. Maybe they don't cost that much.
But I mean, not everything's materialistic. Like when I started making money,
Yeah.
I changed my body.
Yeah.
I went and
I mean,
upgraded
yeah, that's
my
what everyone
chest.
does.
I went and cleared my skin.
Yeah.
I went and got a tattoo.
Yeah.
I went and got my, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
go and get hair extensions. Like,
I've definitely purchased things in the past that were cool, and it was because I could. But as time's gone along for me, I've realized so many times that every time I hit the goal or the destination or the target.
Bro, this guy's hair is freaking me out, dude. He looks like a video game character gone wrong. You know what I mean?
I realized that the journey was so much more fun. And as I've achieved more success and built more companies, it's almost every time now where I get there and I'm like, man, the journey was actually funner than the destination.
I'm kind of over here with you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because like, I used to buy a lot of bags. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, and then once I got there, it was kind of like, I don't have a man, I don't have kids. What am I doing?
But the question wasn't like, what do you think about what's important now? It's like, have you done it in the past? You can't change your past. If you do, are we doing that, changing the future? Like, what do you think about?
I'm spending an absurd amount of money on something because I can't? No. Dude, why are you so obsessed with what people do with their money? If you feel like you should pay more than donate it, why don't you want someone to force others to pay their earnings to a government that'll just use public programs as facades and steals taxpayer money? See, here's a good example, okay? Are you ready for this? If these people paid more in taxes, right? And if we had, for example, more funds to better fund for public education, you would know that this is not the right way to spell steal in the way that you're talking about stealing taxpayer money. But because of your underfunded public education system in America, you unfortunately are a dumber person as a consequence of that, which sucks. I want you to be a smarter person. I want all of my fellow men and women in the American working class to be uplifted by the American government.
But in the past, I've had them. So I've fulfilled my childhood dreams. Now I'm good.
Inequality is one of humanity's biggest problems. Sorry, I was not paying attention. Okay, let's take a look.
3, 2, 1, go.
If we're talking about getting like successful, inequality is definitely not a problem. Like a homeless person has rose to fame overnight. I mean, if we're talking about inequality.
What an incredible representation that meritocracy lied than to put a bunch of fucking dumbass millionaires on camera and just let them speak. Prompt them with some questions, but don't really guide them anywhere. Just let them fucking open their mouths, dude.
Like with like the country, yeah, like, you know, that exists. But to become successful, inequality is not a problem. You know, anyone can make it.
I guess the issue with inequality is that the rich are getting richer and the poor are not having access to those means.
Well, no, because I feel like my husband, he grew up in like the ghetto of LA. Like he had nothing. He worked as a dishwasher technician, and now he drives a gold Lamborghini and he had a gold Mercedes and he can buy whatever the hell he wants.
Oh, this is so bad. This is like, I hear this shit in the Twitch chat, dude. This is fucking...
You don't need to be like a white guy to make money, you know, like you don't need to grow up in a rich area to make money. There's opportunities everywhere. Anyone can do it if they want to.
But
I think when you look,
like her husband's friends that she that he grew up with in the ghetto, as she said, they just didn't want to be rich. Like that was the problem. They were just like, I love being poor. Yeah, no, this is not a policy failure. Poverty is not a structural a form of structural violence or structural inequality. It's not a consequence of like the system that we exist under. Poverty is just people that don't want to be rich. Thank God, dude.
Look at the statistics, though. I think it's definitely doable. Like anybody can do it, but we still are in a day and an age where it's still not that common in the grand scheme of things. Like there's still a lot of people that, like you said, the rich get richer and the poor are either staying the same or not really getting that ahead right now.
I feel like there's still just a lot of inequality. I mean, like, we're all minorities, and you guys are all white. all. And then like growing up, if you put me in a 4th grade classroom and I say, show me a millionaire, they're gonna say Apple, Amazon, Timothy Sykes, he's rich. And then you're like, okay, show me somebody black, show me somebody Asian, show me somebody Spanish. You're gonna be like,
it's very
Michael
limited,
Jordan.
right? It's extremely limited.
They don't know.
We need more examples.
Yeah, we need more black billionaires. This will solve the problem.
I apologize for that.
We need more women
is a huge
CEOs.
problem,
We
but
need
don't make
more
me pay more
black
taxes.
CEOs. This will solve the problem. Not the fact that CEOs exist to begin with, or like this will certainly alleviate all the issues facing the African American community. That's how we're gonna do it. Like, people unironically come into this chat when I talk about this stuff and say, why not give money to charities? Like, why not let charities deal with it? Well, one, charities are more often than not very capitalist operated. Okay, a lot of charities are very suspicious. That's one, in the way that their finances get distributed. And secondly, like, individual donations are not going to cut it. Okay, you need a centralized command. You need someone to distribute resources by need appropriately. And that needs to be a well-funded machine. In America, people think, I don't know why, but in America, people think that, you know, these are job creators. Like, they're doing something good for us by creating jobs for us. Bitch, they're not creating the job for you. They're creating the job for themselves. Okay? There is no value without labor. There is no value without labor. It's just capital sitting there without your work. You provide the labor as a worker, okay? So never forget that. So that's one. And two, if they paid you fairly, these companies would not turn profit, okay?
You don't love the spirit of
justice. If they paid you what you
love
truly
your
are
father,
providing,
the devil.
They would not have profits. But under our economic organization, we expect to be underpaid. You know that you are giving more than what you get in return.
My privilege has allowed me to become rich. 3, 2, 1, go.
I think the internet democratizes everything. I mean, I learned everything about stock trading on the internet, and many of us take advantage or capitalize on, things that are in the market, and the internet allows us to become experts.
Would you say the internet's a privilege, though?
No. I mean, you want to get like into semantics, like it's a privilege to be alive during this time in history where we have the internet.
Just in a sense, if you're broke, you may not have it, so you have to like
you can
walk
get free
to,
Wi-Fi.
you have to walk
you
to
can
Starbucks.
beg on the street, and you can get.
But I have to walk there. It's not a
you
privilege.
could be paralyzed, and you could like push yourself. There's a way to get on the internet. Almost every single person can get on the internet. The internet, I think, allows you to achieve anything.
To humanity. Pepper spray laugh.
Dude, this is so good. I mean, this guy is this is like nuclear takes coming in, dude. If you have a chance at like maybe even seeing the internet, okay, that means that privilege, no one has a leg up. I'm glad that this is the take that this person has. Once again, proving that millionaires are not necessarily there because they're smarter than the average individual or because they worked harder than the average individual. There's a lot of luck involved, okay? Do not forget that. That doesn't undermine their accomplishments or whatever the fuck.
And it doesn't matter if you're in the US, if you're a man or a woman.
Well, I feel like that's for internet businesses. Like for me, it's more like beauty. Like for example, if I didn't like kind of look good, I'm not trying to be conceited, no one would trust me to like help them look better. Like for example, you're in stocks, that's not really privilege. You learned how to do that. My privilege has allowed me to make money just in that case, just because it's like a beauty industry. That's it, you know. That.
So you can create privilege then too, right? Once you gain some momentum in life, it becomes easier in a sense, right? It becomes like you look at the exponential growth of success typically, and once you kind of create privilege a little bit, from what I've found at least, it does become a little bit easier. Like once you're there though, I mean, it could take 10 years to get there, but eventually you create the privilege. Doesn't mean you had to start out privileged.
For sure, and sometimes it's generational. Like if I was in my mom's shoes and I was actually born in Vietnam and and she didn't take that chance with her family to leave literally everything behind and come over to Canada, I may not be where I am today because she didn't, make that decision to bring our family over. Maybe I would have had to be the one to make that decision for my family, and then it's the next generation that basically built off of that. So it really is situational.
People judge me because I'm rich. 3, 2, 1, go.
We live in a world where social media is extremely prevalent. So like being on YouTube or Instagram or social media, a lot of it's like perceived. You know, you are constantly getting like quote unquote judged.
Right, but even on social media, it really just depends what you post.
$1,000 watch just for social media. Like I don't even, if you ask me what time it is, I check my iPhone. I don't even know if this thing works. But like when you're trying to grow your business, especially for me, like in stock trading, why do you get into stock trading? Is it fun? No, it sucks, but you can make money. So for social media, you kind of have to show it.
But even with social media, I mean, if you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, I think you're rich.
Yeah.
Because I know YouTube is writing you a check and I'm judging you off
Direct
that.
deposit.
But that's my point. Like, you don't have to post a flashy watch. You don't have to post a nice car anymore. Like, if I see, you know, a large amount of subscribers on a monetized platform, I know you're getting direct deposit. I know something's keeping your lights on. Now, I'm not judging you in a bad way. Of course, you know, I work every day to try to make videos too. But in the same sense, like, we judge people that ask us for money.
Money can buy happiness. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's kind of like that poor broke mentality all over again. Like if you're rich and you're like in a domestic violence relationship.
What's the saying? Like, money can't buy happiness, but I'd rather cry in my Lambo.
Like you're not happy even though you might have money, but still money can buy fun things. And looking back, like you're proud of your accomplishments, you're proud of the journey that you took to get to where you are, and in a way it can buy happiness.
Money allows you to buy freedom, and then freedom gets you the ability to have more time to find what makes you happy. It's not a direct result.
But it could be, like, let's say your mom or your dad or somebody that had a severe illness, you know, was in the hospital and they had X amount of time to live. Now this person makes you extremely happy, and it's going to cost $1 million or $2 million for this surgery that they need to survive, and you save them. Like, you quite literally just bought happiness. Now, that's not to say that it buys happiness in every area of life. Like,
but it can.
But in certain areas, like, yeah, money definitely can buy happiness.
My most fulfilling asset is the house that I bought my parents.
Exactly.
And I am so grateful to be able to do that.
You were serving another person.
100%.
Exactly.
Right, it's like pouring from an empty cup. You need to make sure that you fill your cup before you help other people. And I think it goes back to donating, or people expect you to give more because you have more, but really it's not selfish for you to want a lot of money or to want that time freedom. And it really just depends on your definition of happiness, what makes you happy. And we all find that, I guess, reason at different points in our life. Some people figure it out really early on, and some people it takes them a lifetime to find out what makes them happy. So even though you could have a lot of money, if you don't know what that reason is that drives you to do the things that you do, then really you're just not going to be happy whether you have money or not.
All right, guys, that's a wrap.
We'll give you a